Do you think they see any difference?
Uh, I know what that is. Are you a Warhammer fan as well? Hello, everybody. I'm not. I couldn't tell the difference. I thought that really was you for a moment, then, Simon.
Skin color slightly off. Yeah, but I'm no racist. Got nothing against green people. It was like a Warhammer painting set that I had for years lying around.
Yeah, very cool. I've got
The
a
kids have
bunch
been
of.
using it.
Yeah, okay. From my childhood, teenagehood, and early 20s, I've got a whole bunch of grey material floating around the place as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Man, we really are more similar than I thought. Welcome everybody who's tuned in today. They're like, what are these guys talking about? I thought they talk about music. We do talk about music, and that's the plan. So we're going to talk about this month's listings. How you been, Simon? You good?
I'm good. I'm good. I got a microphone, so hopefully people are more pleased with. I think I'm always the one with a slightly worse sound, so maybe now it's a bit even, Steven.
Yeah, we'll see how we go. Well, but comment,
See.
comment if you guys want to
Yeah,
rip into
let
us
us
or
know.
something. Yeah.
Let us know.
So we're doing this month is a weird month because of Progust. A large part of my listings have been influenced by the Prog Report, who have been recommending a song randomly, or not randomly, actually quite deliberately, each day to listen to. And so I've been sort of following that track a little bit, and also getting a little bit caught away. So sort of following their thing. So I wanted to talk about a few of the maybe those sort of standouts that
Yep.
I enjoyed. But other than that, I've been preparing for the Vola episode, so I'm going to avoid Vola, even though they're my most played artist this month, because
Right.
it's all in preparation, you guys. Preparation for a
It's coming.
guest.
It's coming.
That's right.
Yeah.
Did you want to start? What have you been listening to?
Well, I mean, this has been a hell of a month musically for me, because there's been plenty of releases that caught my attention. And I guess the main one, yeah, the number one biggest release for me here has been the fourth EP of Acts, so A.C.T's quadrology EP that they've done over like 8 years or 6 years or something like that. I think the first one was in like 2018 or 19.
Yeah.
So they decided instead of doing albums, because they work pretty slow, the between I think like 95 and 2005 they released 4 or 5 albums. So there, it's not like this band that pumps out a new album every year, and so they decided we're just going to do with EPs, so we're making it 30 minutes. And the first EP is indeed 30 minutes, and this last one actually clocks in around, I think, 40 or 45 minutes.
So
And
it's
they're
an
all
album, pretty much.
pretty much, I think they just had a harder time, they just had more material than, especially when rounding it up, maybe because it is they're all thematically, it's basically a concept
Yeah, cool.
EP quadrology, and it's like they're kind of known for having like um, storytelling about like personalities. Like they even made like an epic divided into several tracks about personalities, and it's like this person is changing gender, or this person is having insomnia. It's like everyday life stuff usually, or more or less, or based in somewhat reality. And you also here you have like those relations and personalities, but it's mixed up with the apocalypse. So all of a sudden you have like this dark theme that we're not quite used to by then, and it's all not in chronological order either. So you have this song about someone having trouble with his in-laws, and the next song is like, okay, we travel to space because the world is blowing up, or like it's a nuclear war or whatever the fuck is happening. And, but it's still very and it's awesome. This is like, despite being somewhat of a short album or whatever, a long EP, this is absolutely a contender for my album of the year. And it was one of my favorite bands, being that small cult band that it is.
Mm.
This is, yeah. So, I mean, fantastic, fantastic stuff. They're as tight as Dream Theater, you know, that's, but it's not metal. Um, yeah, it's a special kind of band, and I was truly amazed by this new EP, and then also like puzzling together the storyline, you know, spanned over these four EPs, and it's I noticed they even have like you probably can do it also sonically, like some songs begin where other ends, you know, like the
Yep.
outro and the intro, or so like if you put it in the right order,
Order.
it will be, you know, you will go into each other, like very intricate stuff. You can probably spend an eternity putting the piece of puzzle.
Together.
Yeah. So yeah, that was like my main listen here that I was very excited about, and it did absolutely deliver, and it also heightened those other three EPs for me. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you know, yeah,
Yeah, that's exciting. That's really cool. I know I've listened to one album because you recommended them maybe at the beginning of the year sometime, maybe in like February. So I checked it
yep,
out. I enjoyed it. So it was a band that I've highlighted to eventually get to, right? But
yep.
that sounds really cool. That does
I
sound
would check
exciting.
if you're like a little bit curious. I would check out the music video of "Family." That's the one about the in-laws. It's very funny. It's very, you know, yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
That sounds cool. I'm super interested in that. I don't mind the odd concept album. So that's exciting. That's cool. And I needed an excuse to listen to them. And if it's up there with one of your albums of the year, as we get closer to the end of the year, maybe I should check something out that you might
Check it
recommend
out,
that I
man.
really
Check it out,
like.
man. I
So
think you like it.
yeah, cool. Sounds good to me. I was gonna look. I think I can't remember if I brought this band up previously. I think I might have last month. I can't remember. But my highest played outside of stuff that I've been preparing for is a band called Zio. Did I mention them?
Yep,
ZIO.
yep, yep, yep.
Yeah. So I've continued listening to that album, which was called Flower Tyrannia, which is a like a sci-fi inspired or video game inspired, I guess, kind of concept album as well. And I don't know, like I've just realized a lot of plays into this album, like a lot of plays into it, and so I feel like I'm really really enjoying this, and
Where
I
would you
think
put it?
it's
Like, do you have any bands that is somewhat similar, or?
oh look they've got this. So they've kind of got two vocalists. Look, it's a little bit theatre kids. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, you know, it's got a very, especially the female vocalist sounds a little bit Disney-like in some ways. So she's obviously like theatre trained, or at least that's how it comes across to me. I don't know too much about the band themselves. If I pull up
So
their
it's
artists,
theatrical.
yeah, I guess. Okay, so they're a UK progressive band. They were born from the idea of Karnataka drummer with
Mm,
collab
I
from
love those Kanataka. Yeah,
okay, so
yeah.
that's but I don't know if that's yeah.
I
Look,
believe those
that's
are Swedish or maybe Norwegian. Swedish, I think.
yeah.
Kanataka.
Okay, I'm not even that educated on those guys neither. But oh, okay. So he used to play in it. So Jimmy Palagrosi is from that, I think, on drums. And then you've got a guy named Mark Fasher on guitar, Oliver Keston on keyboards, Liz, I think it's LZI Hayes is on bass,
Oh, is
Haley,
he?
and Haley Griffiths is from Karnataka. Yeah, that's the vocalist. Um,
Did Did you say Izzy Hale?
Maybe I think
No.
that's Hayes. Hayes.
Hayes. Okay. Okay. Okay.
LZI is the
So
name.
not the singer from Hailstone. No. Yep.
No. So and sounds different to them for sure. But anyway, so look, I think it's got this, like, it's quite theatrical. It's quite, there's a lot of I don't know, like a good example if you're interested, for those listening, is maybe the song X-Ray. It kind of starts off kind of, they got this really poppy kind of sort of synthy sort of vibe to it, and then it sort of hits really hard like halfway through it. It just sort of drops. There seems like there's an evil character who talks, and then all of a sudden it's like boom, and you get like, so it's got some diversity in the palette. It's a really hard album to explain, other than I just think it's just fun. And there's some sort of quite emotional kind of moments, and I think it's really well sort of done. The only criticism is maybe some people might see it a little bit maybe in the lame sort of area, but I definitely like appreciate this kind of music, and I don't find it that way myself, but I can imagine someone's maybe saying it. But look, I think it's just, considering how small this group seems to be, I am absolutely sold on just how good they are for it. It's like, yeah, I would highly recommend checking them out. If nothing else, than to give them a bit of support, because they kind of they're just so much better than what.
I'm a sucker for concept things, so I will bump them up in my backlog.
Yeah, cool.
Let's see here.
They
If I
did.
got
They did
some,
also
yeah.
release. Sorry, I was just going to say, just before I forget, that was the other thing. They do have another album as well, though, and it's the new album that they released. I think it was. I'm not even sure when that came out, but it came out in 2023, and so I haven't got there yet. But I've been deliberately listening to this one, just becoming really familiar, so I can jump into that one. And that one's called True Wave. So I'm going to have a look at that later.
Cool,
But
man.
anyway, so do you want to hit up the second thing that you've been up to? What have you been listening to?
Yeah, I got a second big release because well, I'm a big fan of Marillion, and so of course when Steve Rothery, the guitar player, does some solo excursions, then I have to check that out. And now he joined forces with Thorsten Quaeschning or something like that from Tangerine Dream, and they made, well, I guess as a duo, it's called Bioscope, their project, and they released an album this month, and it's very much, I would say that it, like in modern Marillion, you have this a little bit jammy kind of um, ambient-ish stuff, and that is what it sounds like. So like alternating between jamming and being ambient, and yeah, I just loved it so much. I had to. It was one of my top listens this month, and I immediately bought tickets to their world premiere, which is in December. I don't know if they're gonna play other shows even, but they call it that. but it was in the Netherlands, so I thought, what the heck? And I missed out on the ticket sales for Marillion, and so all the ticket sales now goes for like 250, 300 euros. I'm not gonna pay that for a concert. So this was like 70 euros. So I thought,
Yeah, that's
let's
cool. Get it.
let's
Lock
do it.
lock in. That,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's
yeah.
so when did you say that was? Sorry.
That is in December,
Okay. Yeah.
and the album just released like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, right. That's really cool. There's a few bands that are all doing stuff around November. So I think I've got a pretty busy November, and then there's
Cool.
some stuff happening in February as well. So I think no, I'm quite excited about what Australia's got coming up as well, and it looks like all of a sudden there's some live stuff. So I'm hoping to catch, or in future months I'll be telling you guys all about what I'm listening to in preparation for that too. So that's cool. My next one I wanted to talk about was I spoke about this band at the beginning of the year as well because I was fresh to them. I'd never heard of them before. This is a band called The World is a Beautiful Place and I'm No Longer Afraid to Die. So they just dropped a brand new album. So it was kind of cool. It was unexpected of me. I didn't realize this was even going to be a thing this year. And so I thought, especially because I've loved, like, adored this last album, I thought I'd get stuck in. And so when it dropped, I was a little bit surprised, my friend, because The World is a Beautiful Place and I'm No Longer Afraid to Die have gone from people that seem quite optimistic and light and appreciative, like very much like the sound of their music does, to something really heavy, or at least pretty dark. And so I'm like, oh wow, it looks like they've had a complete like flip. And so this album has been really interesting for me because it's that took me back, and it meant that the message really hit me hard, or at least I'm getting a vibe of the message. So I've played through this album like 5 times now, and so that's from start to finish 5 times. And look, it's always had like a post rock kind of vibe in the background a little bit, and sort of flirted with kind of a bit more of maybe an indie sound, and but this one has a fair bit of screaming, and they're severe and they're in your face. And for anyone that knows me, they know that like I'm not the big heavy vocals guy necessarily, but I'm really pushing through with this one because there's just something in it, and it's got this unique, like they're still them. They've somehow held on to their musical identity and just like flipped it, and that is so intriguing to me. And so
That's the
that's what,
best. That's the best when bands do that, right? That you have the
yeah.
DNA, but they do something different.
And so it's definitely there, but it's definitely like it's like they're going, fuck you world. Like someone has to speak up about the bullshit that's going on. And so that is the message. It's loud and clear as far as I'm concerned. And I don't know, I found myself like entranced with this. So for those who quite like heavy lyrics, or heavy vocals, sorry, maybe check this out. And for those that sort of don't, maybe you could be like me and quite appreciative. But if you love their previous album, like Illusory Walls, like I did, then I think this is going to be a right up there as a contender for one of the better albums of the year as well. It's just an assault on my like soul a little bit, and I don't know. Yeah, I think this is the kind of album that needs to be being released right now. I
Yeah,
just don't know what else to say.
yeah. No, I get it, and I think it's logical that maybe we get that more from bands at the moment. I think um, also like these genres are maybe um, are for people that might see through the bullshit that is happening.
Mm.
I think everybody knows what we're talking about, and we're not going to make it a political podcast or anything. But I think it's. I mean, a lot of people are blind, but you have to be blind not to see it, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Um,
And it's scary times,
yeah,
and so
yeah.
some people are singing, like Calandra earlier this year, again, a band that I've loved, and I've loved their album. Their most recent one to me hit me in the heart because they're just kind of like, surely we can be better. And they're like, I'm trying to be optimistic, I'm trying to be these things, and it's this soul stirring thing. This is on the other end of the spectrum. And
Yeah.
I don't know, like there's something about that. And when an artist sings from their heart and they put something together from like their heart, then I reckon that's where the best music comes from, right?
That's the case.
Mm.
Well, speaking of angry vocals, well, oh no, this is a bad segue, but there has been some. Uh, you made me aware of it, I think, about these sessions that Leprous had with what is this?
Are you
What is it
talking about
called?
the Musora ones?
Yes,
Like
exactly.
the live on YouTube stuff? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so of course the first the one is of course the Take on Me cover, which I thought was quite good. I think thought it was very good,
Yeah.
and and also the live performance. I just quickly had to check through it to see like how is it going to pull that scream off in A Sunken Ship.
Oh, nailed it.
And my God, I didn't. I had it on my shitty little phone audio, and I got the skin just raised off my arms. What a fucking powerhouse that man is! Oh, that
Yeah.
was a good. It's the same thing like with on the track. It's like sure, there's only one scream in there, only one growl, but the quality of it compensates for anyone who wants the aggressiveness, I think.
Isn't it funny how so many people didn't like his vocals in Tall Poppy, right? Like with the darker
But
vocals that are in it. But this is freaking.
this is way better.
It's
This
so
is
good.
way
So you
better.
just go.
Yeah.
He's continuing to work on his craft, obviously, and I
Mm.
think that's the thing. And in that Musora episode as well, they do a few different tracks. So they did a Sunken Ship. If I remember, it was Atonement, wasn't it?
Yep.
And then
Yep.
they also did From the Flame. Was it From the Flame?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
something
Yep.
from Alina, like one of those.
Yep.
And
Yep.
what was interesting to me is like the differences. And he nailed From the Flame. Like, oh my God, did he nail that? Like, it was pitch perfect. It was wonderful. But he altered a little bit, like because I saw him do Atonement and Sunken Ship just recently, right, in Australia live. And he knocked it out there. But there was just some variances in terms of like how he was using his voice. And there was a little bit of obviously like experimentation, a little bit of live sort of stuff in it. And I thought that was really interesting for me.
Yeah.
And he's just a sensational artist, isn't he? I know. But
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
best thing about the Musora stuff, sorry, I just hijacked your thing, but you want to say.
Yeah. No. No. That was my intention.
Yeah, but was just being able to see how the band plays together in that kind of environment was really wonderful, and seeing how they bounce off each other, how they put together songs, who contributes to what, where their stance is, and they just had this little interview section in
Yeah.
between
I've
the
not watched
tracks.
that. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
need to like it's so good, and they 100% echo my sentiment on what progressive music is meant to be.
Yeah.
And there's
Cool.
just
Cool.
there's just this thing in there. So definitely watch the whole clip and then get back to me later. We could like about
Absolutely.
this.
It's on my to-do list. Yeah.
Yeah, but you obviously enjoyed the. Did you enjoy Sunken Ship the most out of those? Did you watch all of the
Oh
tracks?
yeah, no. Well, to be honest, I just thought I will have a quick look here. So I watched like a minute or two of that one. I watched a minute or two of Atonement. I did not see the From the Flame one. So like I just did the sneak peek. And,
Yeah.
and I'm planning to well I mean I thought Atonement was great as well. I was mostly focusing on I was a bit curious on exactly how did they do it with the guitars, and I was like, oh, of course they use
I
slider,
Yeah, had no
So
idea myself, and it was one
yeah,
of those things that when it popped up,
yeah. I
as
was
soon as he
thinking,
had it,
did
I
they
was
use the
like,
tremolo arm? That was my vision of it.
I read a comment that said that they thought it was a synth. And so it was
I did
interesting,
not
and you're
expect
like,
that.
no, and so heaps of people I think were a little bit like, oh, of course. The other
Yeah,
thing too
yeah,
is
yeah,
Board, the drummer, is just the guy's a god. Like he's a
yeah.
drumming god, and watching him play, like just everything that he did, there's just so much subtlety and so much nuance in every aspect of what's played, whether or not it's the vanilla sections or whether or not it's the complex fills. Like he's just doing some crazy shit, and he's just such an energetically likable human being. Like I don't know if I'd be able to spend large amounts of time around him because he's like a bit crazy maybe, but gosh, he seems like a nice guy and just so much energy. So I can imagine what touring would have been like with him.
Right, right. Um, there was also some singles released that I thought I would quickly mention. Well, I mean, on a thrash note, Testament released a new single,
Oh,
Infanticide AI.
right.
That was pretty cool. I think that's a band that just somehow they just keep on getting better. A lot of these like old thrash bands, I kind of lost interest for a little bit. Like Megadeth, for example. I've kind of zoned out the last 10, 15 years from them. Uh, and but they are now rounding up their career. So there's also news on the Megadeth stand. They're going for one last album and one or like a big several years tour, if I understand it correctly. Um, on a completely different note, the electronic artist the Orb that I discovered because he did a collaboration with um, uh, um, shit. I'm losing the David Gilmour again, just like last episode. I'm stumbling on his name, David Gilmour, uh, and so he released two singles from an upcoming album, or he, and the first one was like 8 minutes of droning with keyboard. So it was like, okay, is there gonna come anything else? And then the second single was like a rap track, and I was like, "What the fuck?" So I don't know about the Orb, but I am, I thought I'd just mention that because it was a new release, and I was a bit curious at least. But so far, it didn't really spike my interest. Yeah, so I guess that was like the main things that I had. I did have a look at my. Last FM, like you always do. And I was a little bit shocked of the quantity because I had like per week, it's like 80 artists and like 100 albums a week. And even though I barely listen to loose tracks, so yeah, I mean, yeah, and 500 tracks a week or 73 daily,
How
43
many
hours.
how many scrolls
Yeah.
a day are you averaging? Does it say?
Yeah, like 70, something like
Wow.
that.
Okay, so just for anyone who doesn't know, Last FM is just I guess like a repository of like your listening history. You link it up to whatever streaming devices or whatever you use, and it just sort of logs your stuff. And some people log manually if they're listening to real stuff, but most people just
Okay.
connect it digitally too. But a scroll is just listening to a track, and so
And then we have to remember that there's a bunch of 20-minute epics in there.
yeah, and I was just going to say myself, like I don't think I'm even close to 70 a day because I only listen to music when I'm like kind of traveling or listening to music. And so a large part of my day when I'm working is not, I can't listen to music while I'm working, at least not the music I listen to. So,
To be honest, I kind of changed it up after this, and because I noticed, like, if I hear something when I'm doing mundane tasks, the chances that I will like that is like so much smaller than when I'm, in a dark lit room with my hands interlaced and, have all the time
that
to
doesn't sound
myself
creepy at all, does it?
in a lotus position.
I just had a look in the last month. My most played tracks it like was 74 in a day. So that's the most. So, and that was on the 21st of August. So in terms of like our general thing, I'm much less than you. I'm averaging closer to, this month was about 32 tracks or scrobbles a day. So that's interesting. Whereas I think I'm normally sitting at about just under 40 is where I would normally sit. But then I've also been doing a lot of audiobook stuff lately. So, you know, that probably had a lot to do with why I was listening to a little bit less this month as well. So
And I can't access it right now, but I think the difference is also like the amount of times I listen to one. Oh yeah, actually, yeah. So I mean, like the tracks I listen to the most have like 8 or 9
yeah,
scrobbles. So I mean, um, I think you supersede me there.
yeah. This month my most scrobbled or most played artist is Vola because I said in preparation, and I've listened to 228 tracks of Vola, and so so in saying that, like that's I probably do a little bit more of a deep dive than what you do. Although I still think I wander around a lot. I mean, I've got 50 artists, no more than 50 played on. Let me have a look. Total artist was 116 artists played. However, 50 of them I only played once. Whereas
Yeah. Okay.
the others were, you know, a lot heavier at the fat end as well.
Yeah.
But I think it is interesting just to look at like these kinds of things. It's why I do keep it, is because I listen to so much music. I like to know how much of something I have, and for this podcast, it's been fantastic. Like to be able to go back and just check what have I actually been listening to has been really good, just for being able to stay on top of things and to talk about it as well. So that's kind of cool. Interesting to hear yours. That surprises me. It's a little bit more than I thought you'd do. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I knew you would have been more than me. I knew you would have been more than me.
I'm going overboard. I'm going overboard.
Yeah, I think you fall in the category of like that kind of music is like you're getting up there in terms of like more professional music listener, as opposed to me, which is just like a lover of music who spends, you know, some focused time on it. But it's probably a perfect opportunity for me to jump to just quickly before I go to talk about the Progust stuff, if you're okay with that.
Sure.
Is I also Ihlo just dropped their brand new album. I think technically speaking, like 15 hours ago, and so so I in Australia anyway. And so I've listened to that. I've been listening to them as a band leading up to this a little bit as well. So they've got a lot of plays, and the new album is better than the first one. I can tell after just two playthroughs that it's just better, and so I'm interested in seeing whether or not it's going to jump out at me as much. It kind of gives me some Pure Reason Revolution or whatever their name is, sort of vibes a little bit, but definitely Ihlo-esque. And so it's just a bit more refined. And so I'm really excited to I'll talk to you guys about that next month, but I've really dug my teeth into it. But that's something that could be worth checking out so that we can, you know, when I talk about it next month, maybe people can look at. But look, Progust has been really interesting, really interesting. And so because we're talking like 30 odd different bands, right? Because there's no repeat bands. And they just ask you to play one song. For some of them, especially if I've enjoyed it, I decided to spend some time really having a little bit more of a deeper
It's not
dive.
just one song though. Most of them has been like these quarter long epics.
Oh, they're all the epics. They're not the short ones. So it's like, yeah,
No.
the first one I thought, oh, one song a day is easily manageable, because last year was one album. And
Yeah.
so that was hard. Like I ended up with a backlog on a few days. I'm like, oh, I got to catch up. But this one I thought it'd be easy until I realized that it's, yeah, you know, this 22-minute, you know, from this
And
person.
I was planning on doing the Progust thing as well, but it was like all the tracks that I usually listen to. So there
Well,
was barely anything new for me here.
but that's the thing, though. So they've moved up, haven't they? So they started in the 70s, right, or the
Yeah.
late 60s, and then they've worked their way all the way up to like modern sort of times. And so at the date of us sort of filming this, it's not quite finished. But I think the last one that was put up, off the top of my head, was probably like Porcupine Tree or something. And so we're sort of hitting my era and my like area of like understanding or my maybe specialization. But we went through yours. And so that's what I just wanted to bring up in this podcast, is just being able to say, like, I got a chance to sort of just dip into quite a few of these older sort of 70s bands. And some of them I'd done before, and some of them I hadn't heard the actual tracks before. And I think like
Actually,
there's
the
a,
last ones has been Riverside and Opeth. So yeah, but I
oh,
mean,
I
still
haven't,
nothing new for me there.
no, that's right. But and the Opeth one, I didn't know that they'd dropped. So I've definitely watched the Riverside one, and maybe redo Second Life Syndrome anyway, because I played it. I thought I'm going to do this, and I just think it's one of the greatest songs of all time. I totally agree with them. But like Electric Light Orchestra, I actually quite enjoyed it. I did the whole album of that one. I enjoyed Queensryche, which has always been on my
Oh
to
yeah.
listen list. And
Oh nice.
a lot of the 80s stuff I quite enjoyed, and so that included. Um,
Yeah, I mean the Queensryche, the Operation Mindcrime, that album is one of my top tier albums of all time.
yeah,
That
so
wonderful album.
I quite enjoyed it. I enjoyed the Marillion album that they put up there as well. Um, I enjoyed. Um, they did Rush as well.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
did. I'm just having a quick look. I should actually pull up.
Camel, Kansas.
Yeah, and I'd done that one before. But the ones that I spent some time on was Queensryche specifically, Operation
Mhm.
Mindcrime. Oh, the gem that I hadn't got around to listening to was Liquid Tension Experiment.
Oh yeah,
Dude, I didn't expect that. Like, I don't know why, I just did not expect it to sound
it's
like it
also their
sounded
best
like that.
track, if you ask me. It was Acid Rain, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Or
or whatever it's
yeah,
called. Is it Acid Rain or is it Acid Pool or Acid something?
as it. Oh no, they put Paradigm Shift. All right, all right, all right.
But I think I listened to that anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, actually, it meant that I went off on a tangent, and so I ended up on a liquid tension experiment tangent, which was kind of cool, and I
Cool.
enjoyed that, and I quite liked that it wasn't like there wasn't the vocals.
Did you go through like all three albums or
No, no, I didn't go
just
that big. I've
the
got
one?
25 plays and they're all over the place. So I went through that album and then I went
Okay.
through the others as well. So I'm going to come back to them. That was a good find for me anyway. I quite
Yep.
liked parts of it. I think Portnoy's good, isn't he?
You
Portnoy's
don't you're
good.
preaching to the choir.
Yeah, I know. And hopefully I'm preaching to you guys out there as well who are big fans too. But that was actually quite fun. Um, I had a look. You know what? I went through all of Close to the Edge by Yes.
Yeah.
I still struggle with that a
I,
bit.
it took me a little while before
Mm,
Close to the Edge clicked. I think the that song, the Close to the Edge, it just that one just needed a couple of listens for me, and I actually first clicked with me with Yes with the two albums that came before, so the Yes album and Fragile. Those were the ones that clicked with me first. So, for what it's worth, but also for what it's worth, it could also be just not be your.
cup of tea, yeah. Look,
Yeah.
I'm going to give it time, and I never write anything off straight away, obviously. But it meant that I gave it another crack. Is my point. Terrier by Devon Townsend. I've tried Devon
Yeah.
Townsend before, and I know that you don't like the thing there, but I've tried quite a few different things by him, and this one really stuck. Like
Hmm?
this one was really good. So I don't know if you've tried this album, but maybe it's worth checking it out. Terrier, Terrier. That's how it's
Yeah.
pronounced.
I listened to the track they recommended. I preferred it over other stuff I heard by him. Yeah.
Yeah, so I did that whole album, and it's got this lovely soundscape
And
throughout
you
it.
know what? Like as a dude, like I sometimes complain that you don't have these enigmatic dudes or like these vibrant personalities nowadays, always as you had, back in the days. But he's definitely up there among
Yep.
like I love his personality. I love his way of visioning music and talking about music and it's just that I hate it then that I don't really connect with his music. But I
Yeah.
mean, the way he's going about it is, I love the guy.
Mm.
Yeah, and maybe it just takes another 20 years,
Yeah.
and then I'll do.
So look, I think I guess maybe it's better to just sum it up and just kind of say like I've enjoyed it. I think if anyone's out there who are trying to find something that's a bit of fun, like this is everything from well they're now in the modern, like you said, with Opeth and Riverside and Porcupine Tree, but they really did start. What was the first one they started with? That was King Crimson or something.
Uh,
Oh no, it was Days
uh,
of the Future Past by the Moody
yeah, yeah,
Blues.
yeah,
And so they started there, and they've really worked through some pretty major things. I enjoyed Thick as a Brick as well. I thought that was quite
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
But yeah, once I got into the '80s was where I found myself kind of starting to really enjoy it. And then after the '80s, then it's stuff that I kind of know. Um, I do have to admit though, I did not find Pendragon, The Shadow, so I have to go looking for that. It's on my
Yeah, I
queue.
mean, I believe it's on YouTube, but I mean, they are indeed against Spotify at least, and uh, yeah,
Yeah, and so that's probably why. But and I think there was one other Transatlantic, but I have listened to. them before. So instead of listening to the one they recommended, which was Stranger in Your Soul, I just spent a little bit of time sort of dabbling on a few of their kind of things. And it was really funny that I got that Instagram suggestion that we should spend some time on Transatlantic as well. But I think the topic of supergroup is a good one. And so we should
Yeah, yeah.
definitely spend some time
And there we
on
can
that.
include transatlantic.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're quite familiar with them, aren't you?
I am, of course, because Portnoy's in it.
Yeah.
But
Gosh, he's in a lot of things. He's a little bit of a prog bicycle, isn't he?
yes, for sure, for sure, he's done everything within the genre. But that said, I'm not so much of a Neil Morse guy.
Hmm. Yeah, okay. I
So they
haven't
fall in
I
between.
yeah, I haven't spent much time on Neil Morse neither. I did try one or two things because there was a album released last year or something, was there? By Neil
I think he
Morse.
releases stuff all the time. I'm just not,
Right, up to date on
you
that.
know.
But no, I get it. Not a fan. But I think I tried last year and just thought, oh, maybe, and then didn't get back to it. But yeah, was there anything else that you were going to mention for this month?
No, I think if I look at my top artists there, yeah, yeah, sure, you have Vola is indeed my number one as well because of the upcoming episode. Marillion is up there. Jean-Michel Jarre is up there, the keyboard warrior. Yeah, Bioscope indeed. Deep Purple is up there. I don't know. I guess it's those old records of them that I've been listening to. Marathon. So that's a project by the keyboardist of Marillion.
Mhm.
So it's basically basically doing what Steve Rothery is not doing in this new project. It's more like those old almost when they almost dabbled in AOR. That's kind of what it sounds like a little bit of a Kansas-ish singer.
Yep.
I prefer the Bioscope stuff. I've been listening to an old 70s band, Gnidrolog. Good stuff. It sounds a lot like Wishbone Ash. Evergrey is up there. Focus. My kids love the Hocus Pocus track. Indeed, Megadeth I've spent some time with. I wanted to check out their latest album that I hadn't heard. Anathema has a couple of scrobbles. It's a Beautiful Day has a couple of scrobbles. That's a old psych rock band from the late 60s. Yeah, I had to check out Tangerine Dream, of course, but yeah, no, yeah, Ambrosia, Big Big Train. Ah, now we're down to like two scrobbles, so
Yeah.
whatever. No, I think that's it.
It's I think yeah. Oh, Fate's Warning was the other one that I quite enjoyed. That
Yeah.
um,
Eye to eye, or wasn't it that one? No,
it was
it was from
actually.
that album at least.
Um, here's the thing: is my problem is so I've done a pleasant shade of. Um, yeah, see, that's a pleasant shade of grey is what I spent a fair bit of time. So I went through that twice, but they're all part one, two, three, four, five, six, and so it's too hard for me to remember what they were. But Eye to Eye I have played, so I definitely did. Oh yeah, I did Parallels. Yeah, so I did
Yeah.
Parallels as well, and Eye to Eye was definitely there. So I've done both of those two albums at least this month as well,
All right,
which
cool.
was cool. So so I don't know, like it's been a good one. I'd like to sort of put it out there just to thank the Prog Report for putting obviously a shit ton of work into considering the experience of the individual, and trying to take them from the 70s through to contemporary times. I think is a really cool one. So it's something that I sort of look forward to doing, and just it just starts conversations with people like yourself or like whoever it is, and I think that's really really awesome. So. Yeah, I look forward to next year's one, and also just closing out the month because I think they've still got like 2 days left or something because we're recording on the 29th. So so yeah, but anyway, was there anything else, Simon? No,
No, no,
no.
I'm looking forward to the release of Green Carnation's new album over 2 weeks.
Yep, Lunatic Souls got their release coming up
Is there
pretty
a
soon
date?
as well. I think it's like next month, maybe, or maybe it's the month after. I can't remember. But he just dropped a single yesterday, which I
Oh
might
yeah,
check
okay,
out as
cool.
well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a few things that I think the rest of this year should pop up. So I want to try and get as many of these new drops that I've just started listening to done for next month. So I'll be able to talk to you guys about that too.
All right,
Cool.
man.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, everyone at home. Thank you so much for joining me, Simon. It's always a pleasure, my friend. I absolutely love our sessions. If you guys enjoyed the content, we'd love it if you could like and subscribe. You can find Simon on Simon's album reviews. You can find me at the Prog Wanderer, both on Instagram. So we'd love to chat with you guys. Always interested in your opinions and your thoughts. So yeah, drop us a line, and yeah, I guess we'll see you guys next week.
For shizzle.
Yeah, for shizzle. Anyway, peace out, everyone.
Peace.
Enjoy yourselves, and let us know what you're listening to in the comments below. We'll talk to you
Yes.
later.
All right.
See you,
All
everyone.
right.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.